Hey, good morning, guys. This is Oscar with Cannabis Savvy and Sweet Relief, and I'm here to give you a crash course on Leafly. So, when I first got into cannabis, one of the big things that really kind of blew my mind was the fact that there was so many different aspects to cannabis. So, what I'm going to do is just open up a Google browser, and I'm going to type in Leafly. And Leafly has been a great resource for seeing the effects of certain strains of cannabis, what to expect from strains of cannabis, and to actually be able to search varieties based on what you're looking to get out of it. So one of the things I like to do, because strains are so unique, is I really like to see the differences in between them. And Afghani right now has been a strain that's been top of mind. It's very healing. It has a lot of properties for things like Rick Simpson oil, cancer patients, anxiety. And so let's take a look at Afghani. So I just clicked up in the search browser. And as I start typing, you can see these strains pop up. And we're going to go to Afghani. I'm working on getting some of the seeds popped with this. So let's see. No, my location doesn't need to be. So what you'll see first off is the coloring. Purple means indica, green for Leafly is hybrid, and red for Leafly again is sativa. When you go into Sweet Relief, there's going to be a little bit different color coding, yellow being sativa, green being indica, and our yellow being sativa. So just keep in mind the colors aren't universal, but this one happens to be an indica. You see their little trademarked indicator for the strain. You can see here 4.3 stars out of 325 reviews. So Afghani strain tends to be liked by people looking for that. So you scroll down and you can get some strain highlights. And this to me is really interesting in that you can kind of see the back crosses and some of the subtle nuances. So like with this, with the Afghani, you can see that it's treasured for the heavy resin production, deep sedating relaxation, euphoria. So obviously this isn't probably going to be something that a new user, a new medical patient or a new rec consumer would want to use early in the morning if they have a productive day ahead of them. But it's great for the end of the day if you've got pain. And then for people with cancer, the sedative factor throughout the day, there's a lot of healing that happens when you get good deep rest. So there's a strain highlights. And then you can find Afghani through Leafly on the maps. So there's really not much Afghani right around here. Again, trying to get some seeds popped so we can get this great medicine to people. My favorite part of this whole website is the strain attributes. So, you know, I'm scrolling up. So you got your name, strain highlights, your location availability, and your strain attributes. This is just really cool. So you've got a lot of people giving reviews, and so you can see what the strains actually have as a character. So the top bar here for the effects is going to give you the most pronounced effect. So relaxed. So when smoking Afghani or using Afghani edibly, you're going to get a pronounced relaxed effect. That's more than likely going to be somewhat of a guarantee. Not always, but that first attribute is generally going to be something that you will experience with the strain. Going down, these things are variable. Sleepy, euphoric, happy, hungry. Again, variable. If you're suffering from wasting syndrome and you see this hungry down here, don't bet the farm. You know, you're going to want to sample different strains to find what works for you, but these are a good indicator of what to expect. And then on the medical side, if you click here, we'll bring up a whole new array. So on the medical side, Afghani is excellent for stress, it seems. Insomnia, again, it's going to be more of a sedating one. Pain, Lack of appetite. So again, wasting syndrome with the effects being hunger inducing and the medical lack of appetite. So for wasting syndrome, cancer patients, this is going to be excellent medicine. Fatigue is kind of an odd one, being that it's a sedative strain. Fatigue is going to be in there, and that's going to be actually one of its benefits if used correctly. Again, time, place, and manner. Know your medicine. Know what your goals are with the medicine and the substance, and you know, you'll go farther if you have kind of an idea where you want to go. And the negatives. So, ironically, this has been very useful for me as well. Some strains of cannabis bring on anxiety, and that's something that each individual strain and each individual person has unique attributes. And this plant has a lot of chemicals and a lot of terpenes that interact with our physiology, and finding certain things that work. And that's why I'm a big advocate of going slow, starting low, and experimenting, realizing, like, for me, Dutch Treat is an excellent strain, but for some reason it raises my anxiety. May not be the same for everybody. There's other strains that really reduce my anxiety, but it may not be the same for other people. So knowing what works for you is huge. Dry mouth, dry eyes, those are fairly common. Dizzy, headache, paranoid, and these are, you know, when they get to the really low level like this, there's maybe a few people. If you start seeing anxiety and paranoia up in these upper ranges, may not be the ideal strain for a new consumer. All right, so moving on down below, you get an idea of the flavors. Again, this is going to depend on the grower, but this is what the base strain's characteristics should come out. Kind of a earthy, sweet, piney. After having Afghani several times, I can definitely attest that's the case. And then down here, the review highlights. So these are really open-ended, great anecdotal evidence. Some of them are tongue-in-cheek. Some of them are people that are just angry at the world. Some of them are just total poetic cannabis advocates. So take everything with a grain of salt. Great information in that it can give you an idea of where you're going to go. You read five reviews and they say this is great medicine for insomnia, probably going to be a good go-to for that. You got a few photos here. Again, you don't really know exactly where these are coming from, so I wouldn't bet the farm on them being exactly what to expect when looking for like Afghani in this one. And then you can get kind of an idea on where these strains are popular. Again, down here, this information is not necessarily as useful. The strain attributes, I believe, is huge. So let's try something. So I haven't done this. So let's try, like, if you have PTSD, post-traumatic stress. Let's see if this brings up anything. So Leafly is a huge, huge site. So as you go, even if you want to throw stuff odd at it, you get articles on post-traumatic stress. You can maybe get a few strains that are along those lines. Anxiety, CBD. So this is, Leafly is a huge resource. And if you're new to cannabis, or even if you're a veteran to cannabis but haven't really explored this, the subtle aspects to this plant, to me, really bring out more of the world with this plant, and being able to explore and really being able to learn some of the subtle aspects to cannabis has really improved and brought about kind of more of an, even more of an appreciation for this plant and its abilities, and the interest factor of the different varieties. Still so intrigued with all of this. This is Oscar with Cannabis Savvy. Please email any questions to oscar@cannabissavvy.net, and have another day of weed.